Hello, everybody. I just want to come to you with a brief history lesson because I was watching Fox Business and I saw the aforementioned Judge Napolitano on Varney and Company. And this idiot, this imbecile, this so-called judge talking about the 14th Amendment and birthright citizenship. We need content and context. So he went on to say that if you're born here, this amendment does this, yada, 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 we get it. So anybody who comes in and drops a baby on the soil, that child's a citizen. That was not the fact in this country before the 14th Amendment. So let's figure out why. We need a little content and context to what was going on. We fought a civil war. A president was shot and killed. Lincoln. In 1857, the Dred Scott decision said that people like me who are part black are still property. They actually said in the Dred Scott decision, one of the worst decisions in the history of the United States Supreme Court, that even a constitutional amendment could not free us. They passed the 13th Amendment to free us. The southern states said we do not have to confer them citizenship because of the Dred Scott decision. The Congress of the United States, in its power of checks and balances, said, oh yeah, stupid? Well, here's the 14th Amendment that says that you have to confer them citizenship. You cannot deny them all equal rights and privileges. That's what it's talking about. Content and context. All of the content and context we're about to talk about has to deal with slaves and making those slaves citizens because they were brought here against their will. Go to the congressional record of 1866 and look up the discussions around this 14th Amendment. They wanted to make sure that black people and other slaves who were brought here against their will were citizens and could not be stripped of their rights. So, the 13th Amendment freed the slaves because the Emancipation Proclamation was not a law. It was a decree, an executive order, but it was not a law. So they needed to amend the Constitution, 13th Amendment. 14th Amendment said, let's address this and make sure that the Southern Democrats who had something after the 13th Amendment called black laws. They don't tell you this. They don't teach you this. The Democrats in the South were telling black people, you're still slaves. You have no rights as citizens. The birthright citizenship was because they wanted to make sure that the black slaves and their children and grandchildren, hi, me, hello, people like me, were not counted as property. Judge Napolitano knows this. Things were still so bad even after the 13th and 14th Amendment that they had to pass the 15th Amendment to give us the right to vote. Do you understand that they had to pass the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendment? They all coincide with each other. It's like this middle part of the Constitution where it turns around and it corrects itself because these things were not in the beginning. They kind of left these things out so they can actually form a union. But the Founding Fathers, in their brilliance, said we could amend this thing or we're going to have to correct this slavery thing later, but we can't do it now. So here comes 1866, a civil war is done. They're amending the Constitution, 13, 14, 15, to give slaves rights and make us citizens. These were never meant, even by the congressional record of 1866, these rights were never meant to be conferred upon illegal immigrants. Never. This is why we put originalists on the court. This is why we want constitutionalists. Because the originalist is going to say, what was the intent, the context, and the content of the discussion at the time? It is ridiculous that people like Judge Napolitano get to come on there and say, well, I was born here. It has nothing to do with you as a white Italian male. The whole concept of the 13th, 14th, and 15th dealt with slaves and black people. And for you to take it outside that context and apply it to people who are here illegally is disingenuous at best and absolutely a lie and dishonest at the worst. So no matter where you fall in that range, you're an imbecile, an absolute imbecile. So enjoy yourself and keep going on with your libertarian nonsense. But the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendment have absolutely nothing to do with illegal immigrants and giving them rights. It has everything to do with slaves who were here and brought here against their will, not a group of people who decided to break the law by wandering across the border. I hope this helps some of you.